streets, it wasn't like it was today with 5,000 people.
Mm.
With 5,000 people, it's hard for people to be generous.
Um,
It really is, but when there was few of us, then people felt empathy.
mm.
It's really weird phenomenon. So it was easier for me in my day. And I got my own first house in 1996. And I wanted to pass this around. I was basically on and off the streets when I got this. I'll pass that around.
Oh,
Not too many street people have those.
yeah. No, that's cool. I remember this.
Where was this? Chicago?
No, Denver.
Where?
Denver.
Denver?
Yeah, I lived in Chicago, I lived in New York, and I lived in Portland, Oregon. I lived in Florida. That's a joke.
You lived in Aurora?
Yeah.
Did you?
No.
You lived in, no, you were always in Denver, weren't you? You weren't in Lakewood at all, were you?
No,
Or
I was in
Colfax?
Denver.
You were in Denver, yeah.
I had to be where the people were.
Yeah.
So that was my means of survival.
Well, you were, wasn't some of your time in what is now Lodo?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that area?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
down on 23rd and Larimer,
Right.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah, those were the good days.
yeah.
They
Good old
actually
days.
were, sort of.
Congratulations.
There was a bar I played in all the time.
Huh.
All right, that's enough. So, 1996, I got off the streets and I got my own apartment. Man, you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
start this? When I was 3 years old, I went to an orphanage, the Colorado Christian Home, where I stayed until I was 6 years old. At 6, I went to a foster home. My foster home was brutal for me. I couldn't adapt to being part of a family. I had started to bond with my mother, and then I was taken away from her. I was a messed up child. My foster parents believed that to spare the rod was to spoil the child. At 15, I started to rebel, and I was taken from my foster home. I was returned to my mom, whom I hadn't seen in 12 years. I was angry and in fear. This is when I started to take drugs, trying to medicate from my violent childhood. I stayed with my mom until I graduated from the 9th grade. I left my mom and started living on the streets. During this period, I ended up in juvenile hall 3 times. When I turned 18, I was arrested for the first time as an adult. It didn't take long before I had a 3-page police record. I was 20 when I married my first wife. She drank with me for the first years we were married. She quit drinking early in our marriage so she could take care of our 2 children. When I was in my mid-20s, I hit my first bottom with alcohol and drugs. I went to a halfway house to attempt to get clean and sober. An African-American spiritual group came to the halfway house one night to sing for us. The night I heard the spiritual group sing was the night I had my first spiritual experience. I soon moved to Brooklyn. When I moved to New York, my first wife divorced me. Then I stayed on my journey to quit drinking and drugging. All the turmoil of my life started to leave me. For 17 months, I stayed sober. I began to feel good about myself. I thought I was out of the woods from taking the first drink. I married my second wife. It wasn't long before I wanted to drink, so I went to Times Square in Manhattan looking for drugs and alcohol. For dry mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for that.
Carry on.
Not too sorry, though. A divine intervention happened to me that day. I heard another African-American spiritual group singing. They were singing on the streets of Times Square. The group singing hit me hard. It was so powerful that I cried on that street corner. All my resentments, anger, and self-pity left me that day. The music overtook me, and I haven't had a drink since. I went to Alcoholics Anonymous for the first time. In AA, we talked about a higher power until we were ready to turn our lives over to God. I've been going to a Christian church for 20 years. At the First Mennonite Church, blues prayers helped me to find God. When I went to the Beloved Community Church, I played harmonica and started to sing gospel music. Back up. The black music in Times Square was the catharsis for my spirituality. One day at a time, I've come to believe in a power greater than myself. I commune with God in my music. For 38 years, I've been clean and dry, singing the blues. As T-Bone Walker sang, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy on me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Taylor.